Hello, beautifuls, and welcome. It is wonderful to be in your presence today. Let's chat about the ego. Let's chat about the ego. Let's chat about the spiritual ego. I was going to actually sit down and write, okay, let me put things down that I want to talk about. But turns out sources just record it. So here we are. If you are not already subscribed, please do subscribe and like the video. It really does support me and my channel. Let's get right into it. So the ego, the spiritual ego. So first of all, a lot of people really see the ego as something really negative. We're always met with ego death, and you gotta kill the ego, and the only way you can do things is by getting rid of the ego and the mind and all this stuff. And that's not true. All right. Yes, there are moments when we can have an ego death, and I'm not saying any of that is false or not real, because it definitely is real and it is needed. It is needed for us to be able to just grow our awareness of self, to see how the ego is actually interacting within our lives. And a lot of time the ego will come up as someone that is more self-centered, maybe, or maybe someone that is very overly protective, or maybe someone that is always fearing or maybe judging in a form of fear or protection of oneself. So we see these different parts of us kind of come up when we interact with other people. Maybe when we're alone, when we're in specific situations, the ego can arise within the mind and share with us a little information about our past self, okay? Or even just what we are exposing ourselves to. Our ego loves to arise more frequently when we are exposing ourselves to things that are more ego driven. So whether this be certain things that you are watching, certain things that you are reading, whether it be certain interactions or just people that you're around that may be kind of feeding that aspect of self. But here's the thing, you hold all the power that you need. Okay, you hold choice of how you want to move forward and act and be and do within your life, right? So you have a choice whether or not to be aware of what you are picking up on and how you choose to walk through life and how you choose to be and do and act, right? So this is not saying that, things are going to feed my ego, so I have to get rid of those things. No, this just means that it's time for you to take control. It's time for you to take control of you. And when we allow ourselves to really harness the mind and align it with our heart, creating this coherence, right? This deep connection with the head and the heart, we're able to see that the ego is going to be calmed. It's going to be more relaxed. It's going to come up, but we're going to have this compassion to soothe it. I almost like to think of it as if you do any inner child work where you're actually here soothing and parenting your own inner child, the ego is kind of similar, but you can, you can be a little bit more stern and firm with your ego. So when these ego thoughts or whatever it may be that's in your head come up, you can take that as an opportunity to see that, oh, where is that coming from? What aspect of me has been holding on to this judgment or whatever it may be that is arising, or this fear, right? Just noticing, okay, where is this actually coming from? That's what's important when it comes to the ego, is to notice where is the core of this belief, right? This thought. What is the belief hiding behind this thought? What is the belief hiding behind this ego, this aspect of my ego? And not all aspects of your ego are bad, which is why when we say ego death, it sounds so, I don't know, death is not bad or anything. But the thing is that we do need our ego in life as human beings. It's helpful to have the ego. It's helpful to use it as a tool to begin allowing ourselves to set loving boundaries, begin allowing ourselves to really just step up in our confidence in who we truly are here, to allow ourselves to push through boundaries and just to push through our own boundaries is what I mean, and expand our comfort zone. That's where the ego can be so helpful is because we can just conjure up this like this aspect of ourselves that thinks we're all that, and it's like, okay, I need just like a little bit of this, I need a little bit of that. Okay, maybe I need to be a little bit more wary in this situation, even though I want to be all, you know, open arms, hugs, and love everywhere. The ego can be super helpful. It really gives you information, but it's knowing whether or not you are being controlled by the ego or whether you are the pilot here of your mind. So this is where meditation can be so helpful to begin seeing what is going on, to expand your awareness. And even when you're not in meditation and just going throughout your day, you're able to open yourself up to see what is going on when you're actually interacting and reacting and going about your day, whether you're alone or around a lot of people or at work. So it's a very beautiful reflective tool that you can use, and something that you can soothe, and something that you can mold into what you are, what you choose to be. We have that aspect of self, right? We have this ego that is really based in fear and likes to protect from fear and likes to just show up through fear. And it's because it thinks we're not enough that it's trying to hold on to the sense of security and protection and truth. And it's not based on love. It's not based on true truth of your multidimensional self, okay? This is based on the experience, the more physical experiences that we are having here and now. So us allowing ourselves to begin seeing this and softening it through our awareness and through action and through those little things that we can do in our head, right? To begin combating it, and combating it in the best way possible. More like a discussion. Be like, hey, guess what? I'm taking over now. You don't have to do this anymore. All right, we do not need to fear this. This is not a healthy way for me to protect myself, or okay, this is overly protecting myself. You want to protect yourself out of love, you know? You don't want to be doing it out of fear. You want to do it because like, hey, like I know I'm protected, and this is me allowing myself to protect my auric field and my energy, and to know that I am supported in this way is loving, because it allows me to show up more fully, and it allows me to pour that love back into myself, right? So we want to bring that aspect to the ego and begin actually having a conversation with it. Something that I love doing is when I started working with my ego a little bit more, is just journaling. Overall, just journaling like a conversation with your ego, okay? Or just writing and seeing where your ego may be coming in, and how you can begin having a conversation with this aspect of yourself to begin bringing it back into alignment with who you truly are. If this is truly important to you, this is a daily thing. This is part of our spiritual journey, right? As we all know, the ego is a big part of some of our journeys. Some of us may not have the ego that's that strong, and sometimes that may be because the ego believes that we need to be softer. We need to be more quiet, right? We need to be hidden. So that's another aspect of the ego that I'm just kind of bringing up now in this transmission, I guess, is this ego that is more silent. And when I say silent, it's more judgmental toward the self and being like, oh, we shouldn't do that. Oh, maybe you're wrong. Oh, it's doubtful, because it's fearing how everything else is going to be, and it doesn't know any better. Doesn't know any better because they thought, based on an experience in your past, this was how you had to live. Okay, remember, this is an aspect of you. This is you. This is you. Remember that. Bring some compassion and have a conversation there. See what core beliefs are hiding underneath these phrases and these thoughts and these aspects of yourself, this ego that is within you. You do not necessarily need to say the ego is evil and all this stuff, because like I said, we do need it, and it's a beautiful tool for us to reflect and begin healing and begin creating a heaven on earth, not only outside of us but inside of us. Okay, inside of us. And this is completely possible. Completely possible. I will still have my ego come up in moments, even just today, I was having my ego come up saying like all these things of like what if could happen and all this other stuff, and they're like, no, you shouldn't be all this like this caring, loving person, you need to stand your ground. And I realized, I was like, hey, hold on. And I gave into it for a little bit, right? But then I was like, hold on, I can do the same thing. I'm the same person. I can be caring and stand my ground. I can be loving and, you know, be in my power. It can be the same thing. I can be soft and strong at the same time. There doesn't need to be a separation. I'm so thankful to my healing coach that was just said that. She was just like, it doesn't, you're not caring because you're standing your ground. Like, you can still be both. And I was like, holy cow, ego. Holy cow, mind. Like, bro, no, this is how I want to be. I want to be able to encompass both of them because it's both part of me instead of creating that separation. The ego will try to create that separation because that's what it knows. That's what it knows based on our society and the programs, everything that has been spit out at us as children. And it's getting better. It's getting better, you guys. Like, it is. It's nothing to worry about. Like, you don't have to be a hermit or just like hide somewhere because you don't want it to be triggered or anything. Like, that's not actually serving you. You being triggered and you interacting with the world here and now is actually a beautiful way to self-reflect. It's a beautiful way to begin healing. And that's why it's important to have balance, okay? You can have that balance of, okay, like, I'm living my normal human life in this world that isn't completely where I want it to be, but I'm here anyway. And then having those still moments where you're in your spiritual space, you're at your altar, you're doing your practices, you're journaling, you're sleeping, you're integrating all of the fun stuff, you're speaking like whatever it is, right? You can have that balance between the two because they can be meshed into one. They are one. This separation is not truth. It's not truth. And the ego is gonna try and tell you that it is. But once you pinpoint like what your ego is actually going on, and you know what, a lot of the time it's just like our mind and the beliefs within our mind. The ego is just more personified and it likes to just be a lot stronger than our intuition. It like comes on like a punch and our intuition's like whispering to us and it's like, right? So just noticing that difference there and noticing just from this place of realizing that, okay, the ego is promoting separation. It knows separation. It's not bad. It just doesn't know any better. So it's time for us to take the wheel and say, hey, we're in control now. And yeah, and just not focus too much on, oh, I have to worry about like, is my ego like taking over here? Did I do this out of ego? Like, you know yourself. You know yourself. It doesn't have to be so complicated, okay? You don't need to worry so much on where things are coming from. If you're doing something and you feel like you needed to do it, you needed to do it, okay? And you can reflect. You can definitely reflect and see, when you think there's something a little off. And the more that you take the time for self-love, to like be with yourself and to learn more about yourself and to reflect and to have those moments of just like, okay, what happens in my body when this happens? What happens in my mind when this happens? In my energy? How do I feel? Right? When you take those moments to do this, it becomes so much easier for you to know where things are coming from. Because at some point it'll click and you will know immediately when you are asked by your ego to act on something that doesn't feel in alignment. It just will not feel in alignment at all because you've made the choice. You've made the choice to act in alignment with your soul, not with this old construct that is creating separation. All right, and the ego is going to be like, oh, that's how it be. And those parts of the ego that aren't meant to be there, that are creating that separation and that fear and that protection, they're going to be healed and released from a place of compassion and love for yourself through your devotion to yourself. So that is what is going to happen there. And the parts of your ego that you want to build up or even just hold onto and keep close to you will be kept, right? The parts of your ego that you actually use in alignment with your soul. So moving on to the spiritual ego will come up when we are creating separation within the spiritual community, within our spiritual practices, whatever it may be, saying that, oh, you have to be meditating in order to do this and this and this, or you need to be doing this, or else you're not this type of person. You're not a starseed if you don't work with this star nation. Like, you know what? All these different things that will create this separation, thinking that, oh, because I practice meditation every day and like do yoga and like I'm a spiritual person, I'm better than everyone else. Like, those programs exist, okay, you guys? You may not think it does, but it's important to notice how you actually react to or interact with people that aren't necessarily on the exact path that you are on. And truth of the matter is, we're all on different paths. We're all on different paths, and they're all divine and perfect, okay? We are not meant to change anyone, all right? We are not above anyone. We're here to restore this unity consciousness, this Christ consciousness that is here and now, invoking this unconditional love and restoring this golden age here on earth, which is this connection with the earth, the stars, and us as human beings. This, yes, you have an individual journey, you have an individual mission, but it is a part of a collective mission. You have a soul that is a part of an oversoul with so many other souls and soulmates and aspects of your being that are just here experiencing and healing and shifting and doing this powerful, beautiful work. And we are so lucky to be here on this earth where we have earth, right? We have wind and water and fire. It's beautiful. It's amazing. We're able to do all these things. We have technology. We have cars. We have planes. Like, yes, there's like a lot, you know, that we need to shift in order to better serve the laws of nature and the earth. You know what? It's beautiful that we even have these things in the first place. And as we allow ourselves to really reconnect with the earth, we can begin healing and we can begin sharing that within ourselves, and we can begin allowing these shifts to happen and this wisdom to come and these solutions to arise so that we may once again live in harmony with the earth. Overall, the spiritual ego, it's not truth. It's not truth, because our mission is a whole. It's about union. It's about unity. It's about inner unity. And if you are someone that finds yourself like kind of judging, just a little bit judging someone that isn't doing what you're doing or isn't on this path, saying they're like just muggles or normal people or whatever, like, sure, it's kind of fun to like think that way sometimes, but honestly, when you can begin seeing through the lens of love, or even just through the lens of water, where water just really calls us to gather together, to merge. When we see through this lens of love, this flood of love, this lens of water, where we are all one, where we all are water, where we all, as water, are connected to our Earth Mother, connected to this womb of our mother, this water that we were in for 9 months plus, right? And connected to the stars from which we came from. No matter who it is and what they're doing and how they're doing it, they have their own path, and I always encourage everyone to speak your truth, to express yourself, powerfully express yourself, in full knowing that the soul, the being in front of you, has the choice to receive it. They have the choice to take that or leave it. Okay? This doesn't make you better than them just because you have a different awareness. Your experiences are different and your paths are different, and your purpose may be a little different. Your mission may be the same, but your purpose may be a little different. How you do things may be a little different. Okay? How I do things may be a little different. And notice like how you see others as well. If you see that like others are, you know, super in their ego or their spiritual ego or whatever, right? Are you noticing that and just becoming aware of it? Or is that creating a separation? Is that creating a little bit of a rift between this, oh, the person that is maybe, you know, because we don't know. I mean, some of us just know because our intuition will just be like, oh, this person's a little egotistical here, a little selfish, a little, you know, in this fear-based place. But maybe they're not aware of it. And then yourself, right? Where you start like separating, oh, I'm aware that that's a real thing and that's awesome and I'm better than that person just because they're more egotistical. We're not better than other people. That's just not true. We're not better than people that, you know, have their ego like really strong. It's important to like, you know, maybe you need to put people in their place sometimes and that's okay. But you're not better than them. Some people aren't aware of it and some people are. And the more that we're able to share our truth and to share our experiences, it really creates room and permission, because that's what people really need, to give themselves permission and to just receive permission to see these parts of themselves and know that it's safe to change, that it's safe to shift, it's safe to transform, it's safe to expand, it's safe to go into the unknown. It's so scary for the ego to come to that fact that we are all one and that we're not just individual people. You know, yes, we are individuals and you're so divine and you're so unique, but we are one. We are, and we could start seeing this way. And then maybe triggering to some people, but you know what? Triggering someone is better than not. Because if they're not receiving it, but if they're triggered by your truth and what you're sharing and what you're doing, then you're doing something right in a sense, because they're triggered and now it's their choice whether or not to take care of that trigger. You know that you hit a spot, you know, just as if our nervous system just like, one day I had like this anxiety in my chest and I could have just like let it go, but I actually decided to take 5 minutes. 5 minutes didn't really like come to anything. I was just like, oh, it's still there. I danced. It ended up taking 45 minutes for me to come to the conclusion that this anxiety that I was feeling after a beautiful, beautiful day and just bliss and just so many good things going on in my life, right? I was afraid to fully feel that moment of joy and happiness and bliss and celebration because I knew it was going to end. There was a core belief that said, you can't stay there long. It's not going to last. So here I am in this moment, choosing differently, choosing to fully celebrate myself, choosing to fully be in my moments, choosing to fully feel the joy, the bliss, the love in all my moments with anyone that's around, letting myself know that it's safe to believe that everything is always working out best in a case scenario. It's safe. Create a safe container for yourself. Create that. And if you have a hard time with that, something that my coach was sharing with me, which is just so simple, is to just imagine you're being held by a greater power, whether that be source, spirit, the universe, Mama Gaia, whatever is that higher power, or even just an ascended master that you work with, or a guide or an angel. Let yourself be held there, feel that, and then play with your power in that play. And that aspect of support and being held and safe, creating this container for you to explore yourself. Oh my goodness, how fun. No plans, and a lot came through, and I hope that served you so much. I hope something resonated. So let me know in the comments down below any of your thoughts, if you agree with any of this, if anything popped out. This was completely just like kind of channeled coming from my own inner source. So let me know if anything like really stood out to you. I'd love to know. I honestly, it's so important for us in the comments and anywhere, you know, virtually, to just come together as a community, let people know like, hey, you're not alone. Hey, yeah, I feel like I have like a really strong spiritual ego, but I'm working on it, and we can cheer you you on, okay? So yes, 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 we are all one, okay? Please do like the video and subscribe if you are already. And I just love you all so much. And if you are interested in receiving bi-weekly love letters and just being part of my like smaller community and getting more notifications on my actual events, because I'm going to be doing more events virtually and hopefully in person soon. So you can find all of that as well as discounts and special transmissions and just more personal stuff through there in the link in my bio for the love letters. So yes, thank you all so much. I will see you guys in another video. Have a magical, beautiful day. Take a deep breath with me and let it out. Move your body around, integrate what was coming up for you, journal if you need to, you know, if you feel like that is something that you need to do, allow yourself that time. You deserve it. I love you. I'll see you in another video.